right, we good?
All
right. We are here with the one and only Kris Gethin. How do we say it? Gethin? Gethin or Gethin?
You got it right, Gethin.
Gethin. That's what I thought. Kris Gethin. I would say Wales' #1 export, but he's fighting that title with Flex Lewis. Yeah. You're a lot easier to understand.
I'm the civilized one.
Yeah, we'll let everyone else judge. You don't speak quite as fast and mumbly. So I met Kris over 15 years ago now. Kris gave me my first shot at stardom. Gave me my first interview in what I thought was a big publication. It was what was the name of that magazine?
Body Fitness in Europe.
Body Fitness.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I know there's 2 publications, and there was a piece called. There was the editor bits in Flex magazine as well, because I was the editor at large over at Weeder Publications, and we threw it in there as well.
So what happened that weekend? I came in, I met you. I don't know where we met. At Max Muscle. Did Dave Burley own it back then? Yeah. Went into Max Muscle. I was chewing tobacco. I had some Skull Mint in my lip. And Kris kept looking at me. What the hell are you doing? He had no idea. He'd never seen that before. I thought he was going to throw up. And finally I told him, I'm like, it calms my nerves. I'm flying. I was on my way to China for the World Championships. But yeah, that was the first time I met you back then, over 15 years ago. Since then, I've seen you a zillion times at expos, competitions. You went from just a young, editor. You're just involved in things. You weren't
Wherever anyone would take me.
Wherever anyone would take you. But since then, you've done a ton. You've written books and started your own coaching and have a nutrition line and have a gym franchise. All right, tell us a little bit about that.
A gym franchise in India. Well, initially how that started is I got kicked out of the US because I found out that my immigration lawyer hadn't filed for my extension. And when I found out, this was literally 4 days before the Mr. Olympia, and I was about to go down to the Mr. Olympia to cover it for bodybuilding.com, because I was the editor-in-chief at that time. And they told me, if you stay in the country past that duration, which would be a year, then you are banned from this country for a 10-year minimum. However, if you get out within the 10 days, because that will be before a year is up, you have a 5-year minimum. I was like, you are kidding me. And I thought, well, this is going to be easy. I'll be back in no time. Left the country straight after the Mr. Olympia. This is 2010. And then filed for a waiver to get back into the country several times, kept getting denied. Like, I had letters from Mannion, from my book publisher, Simon & Schuster, which is the 2nd largest book publisher in the world. I had letters, Bob Chick, athletes, everybody. And they kept denying me my application to get back in. So I thought, well, until I'm allowed back in, what am I going to do? I had a book launch in India. And while I was over there, a celebrity over there named Hrithik Roshan had picked up my book. He needed someone to get him in shape for a movie. I ended up giving him a consultation, staying in India, and I was there for a little bit longer than anticipated, because then when he transformed, it reached like national headlines. Like, these actors aren't seen as like actors; they're seen as gods. People, worship them. So then we had a lot of business then. So we started flying in people like Neil Hill, Joe Tong, a lot of other trainers to transform all these celebrities. And we could see there was a big void in the gym industry there. People weren't recognizing the trainers. They weren't educated. They weren't motivated or passionate. So we decided, myself and my business partner now, Jag Chima, to start a gym franchise over there.
That's huge. So these are Bollywood actors?
Bollywood actors, yeah.
Bollywood actors.
Bollywood and Tollywood.
Nice. So how are they doing? I went and competed in 2012 in New Delhi, and it was madness. Were you at that show, the Sharu Classic?
Not the Shrew Classic, no, I wasn't there that year.
So we were there, and it was in the who's the guy, the famous, it was named after him, the theater it was in, held 38,000 people, and it was like 3/4 of the way filled. I've never seen a bodybuilding competition with that many fans. It was so loud, like a concert. They gave away tickets just so they could fill it up. But it was absolute madness. How is that gym life, the fitness field over there changed now since then?
It's definitely chaotic there, and you try to control the chaos, for sure. You know, I lived there for quite a number of years, but it's good to go back and visit. But the thing is, what you have to do with a lot of the gyms there that we really focus on is the infrastructure. Of course, I've seen, and they are phenomenal. Really, really nice. And you go into like the cinemas there, big, nice lounges, and you're like, wow, this is a third world country, and there's shanty town right there. But they really put their attention into the detail and the hospitality. And luckily, you can pick and choose your building. Like every one of our gyms has a rooftop where we have the functional areas as well. Like how many facilities can you choose to do that? Not many, but you can do it in India.
That's pretty amazing. That's awesome. So let's switch gears. Tell us about what you're here for today. What are you promoting this weekend? Caged Muscle, I'm assuming. That's your nutrition line. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, another thing that just keeps me out of trouble, So Caged Muscle Supplements, I started out in like 2015, and the reason being is that I wanted to merge like the health sector with the sports supplement sector. Everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to prolong my health span, And so we started Caged Muscle Supplements with like organic, fermented, patented ingredients, naturally flavored, naturally colored. We go through all the certificates that you can imagine, and obviously we're here with Armada, and we've got a phenomenal partnership here. And anything, obviously Brandon and Brent, and they're great guys. Love the facilities here, the gym, and when they mentioned about this event, they're like, can I see it? We're there, of course we're there, and we want to do everything that we can to support these guys, because you know what, like bodybuilding is like, it's a niche, and it's a great niche. It's an awesome clique. It's a very family atmosphere. Everybody that has tried to make bodybuilding mainstream, I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't dilute it. Keep it ours. And that's the one thing that I absolutely love, going to these events, meeting up with guys like you, because it's a great camaraderie atmosphere. People who say that camaraderie is lost in bodybuilding are probably talking from the outside in and not inside. I think there's a lot of camaraderie there. And the one thing that got me into bodybuilding in the very first place was your brother Tito. Like I remember, and Tito knows this, that I was working in a wood furniture warehouse in Wales, looking at Muscle Mag and the Muscle Tech ads, whatever, and there's this guy with the most phenomenal physique I've ever seen, with sexy girls around him, of course, and me just dry heaving baked potato and tuna down, because that's all I could afford, thinking someday I'm going to get over there, I'm going to move to the US. And then 10 years later, I'm training in Gold's Gym, and Tito's there, there, and I was like, how on earth did this happen? And since then, and Tito was just like the most personable person I've ever met, I've trained with him since. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And I just think it's very easy to plug yourself into the social pipeline of bodybuilding. So being at events like this makes me feel really good. So I go back to Boise, Idaho, where there aren't many bodybuilders, and I have a new passion for the sport and the industry and what we can provide to it. So anything that I can do to contribute and help other people within this community, I want to be able to do that, because now I feel that I have a purpose. Where back in Wales, working in that wood furniture warehouse, I didn't feel like I did, but I was working towards it.
That's awesome. I was in Korea a few years back, and Neil Hill had some of your BCAs or something. Hydrocharge. Yeah. and he gave me some, and it was delicious. Yeah. Is that a BCA? What is it?
It's a flavoring system, so you can add BCAAs, you can add, like we've got fermented glutamine, fermented BCAAs, but it's an electrolyte drink with antioxidants in it. That's what it is. But a lot of BCAAs taste bad, glutamine tastes bad, citrulline, creatine. So this is our flavoring system to add all the single amino acids to it, because not everyone is going to say, okay, I'm going to take my 5 grams of glutamine now before my workout or when I wake up. So, you know, we're all meatheads. We have a gallon jug, so I put them all in there, and that's what I suggest people do. So you have a drip feed of these amino acids throughout the day, and if it tastes good, the chances are you're going to be more hydrated, you're going to drink more without all the crap, without the sugar, without the artificial flavors, without the artificial colors and whatnot. So that's exactly what it is. And it, you know, I feel good that I can say to my little niece back in Wales, hey, drink this instead of the sugary kids drinks that you usually get.
Is this line more specialized for like things like that? I don't see a lot of like athletes that you sponsor or anything. Are you trying to, kind of like you say, bodybuilding, you want to keep it ours? You know, is it the same idea with your supplement line? You don't want to cheap out and have to spend money on athletes when you can do it yourself, and you know, spend more on the development of the brand.
No, we've definitely worked with athletes, and we do have some IFBB pros on board now. But the thing is, what we found is that, unfortunately, it's so hard to find the right athletes, because I've had some athletes on board with us that are good friends of mine, and I've had to let them go, unfortunately, because there was just no conversion. So, as you know, I'm not going to name any names, but there's some bodybuilders that are just insane athletes, and people want to see them train because they train balls to the wall, aggression, and it's great to watch. But then when they start to talk about efficacious dosages, ingredient profiles, you know, what you should take and when and why, they don't always come across as an authoritative figure that people listen to. And we've obviously got a niche of followers that listen to a certain voice. So it's very, very hard for us to find the right person that will convert and provide that ROI, because at the end of the day, we are a business and we have to have the ROI in our athletes. So it's tough. Like, we've had some UFC fighters even, we just tried it, see if it worked. And these people have 1 million followers. Do they convert? No, not at all. So it's nothing against having athletes. I have athletes and we want more athletes, but it's just finding the right ones. It's tough. There's a lot of trial and error.
That makes sense. I experienced that myself. You know, a lot of times I would get, when I was with a certain company, they'd fly me in to do commercials and never warn me of what I'm discussing, you know, until it's like they turn the camera on. Yeah, I'm like, that's not how you do it. I need to be familiarized with the ingredients and very comfortable discussing it. So I understand that. It's not every athlete is going to be trained in drama and how to talk, you know, how to speak about things, memorizing all the ingredients. So that makes sense. What else are you involved in? I mean, I know you do just about everything. What's the latest, greatest thing outside of today?
Well, I stopped bodybuilding myself in 2009. I was doing natural bodybuilding up until then, and you know, I was one of those people that really didn't get any more satisfaction from winning a show or getting second. I'd still cross into that abyss of depression after a show, and I was like, darn it, doesn't matter if you win or come second, you know, it's bad. So I decided to hang up the trunks in 2009 and started focusing more on content, you know, doing video trainers like I did on bodybuilding.com, put them on my own platform now on Cage Muscle, and then started doing like Ironman triathlon as well, and wanted to do it as a hybrid athlete, not having to wither away and lose all my size to participate in those events. You know, you see a lot of those guys and they're really thin and skinny. So I thought, well, let's see if we can do this in like a 6-month prep period. So we documented it every day, myself getting ready for a full Ironman in 6 months, and went to the lab to ensure we could do it without losing any muscle, increasing my FTP, my lactate threshold, and we did. We documented it every day. I did an Olympic distance, I did a half distance 4 months in, and then 6 months in I did a full Ironman, and I've kind of been hooked on that since, doing a hybrid athleticism. That was the only reason why I agreed to train with Tito, because I know he's so fit. So I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm in a comfortable position to train with him. And it was great. So I've been doing a lot of the hybrid athleticism since, and I got my own podcast called Knowledge and Mileage that I started a couple of years ago, and I do various content in there. Sometimes I'll have athletes, like I had Brandon Curry on the show like a couple of days after the Olympia, but then I'll have a lot of biohackers on the show. I'll have professors, doctors. Now I've got like a phase on there where I'm just going through entrepreneurship. So I had Jack Oak from Bang on there last week. This week I've got Alan Barrett, who owns Grenade Supplements. And, so I'll probably go down the entrepreneurship side of it for a little while and then find something else, anything that keeps me out of trouble. Because I always say, I don't want to think too much because it makes me think too much.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. That is what we, Nate and I, have the most interest in as well as entrepreneurs, how you get to where you are. Like, what is it about the person that makes you good at what you do? There's a lot more to it than just a bodybuilder, lifting weights, and what you eat, how much you bench. We interviewed Jay, and Jay Cutler, he owns things that people would have no idea about. Yeah, MRI machines, like he's invested in so many different things. He's an interesting dude, and that's kind of the stuff we like to tap into. Do you have anything else you want to add to this?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you got your public start on bodybuilding.com, right? And when that first came out, that was not only the website everybody bought their supplements from. It was where the average gym goer got all of their information from. Everybody was doing some workout program, and many people birthed their careers who started writing there as nobodies became experts and went on to brand, whether it's a clothing line or a supplement line or a gym. Can you talk about how you first got involved with bodybuilding.com, which then gave you this platform to, credibility to go on and do everything else after that?
Good question. So I was working for Weeder Publications in 2005 out of LA. I'd moved over from Australia. I'd lived in Australia for 5 years, had a gym over there. And whilst I was over there, I started thinking, okay, I want to reach out to more people than I am currently. How can I do that? I'll start submitting content to magazines. How do I do that? I don't know how to write. So I bought Merriam-Webster's book on journalistic writing, I think it was, taught myself how to write, and just read loads of books and started submitting content until eventually I was enough of an annoyance that there's like, okay, just give him a break. So I got a contract as a writer and a photographer with Weeder Publications because I bought a camera and taught myself how to shoot as well. So I think I was lucky. Because Peter McGough was the editor-in-chief and he was a Brit. So he took me on. Kevin Horton was obviously a Brit there. So there's a few of us Brits at the office. It was pretty cool. Chris Lamb as well. And so during that time, after a little while, I was just doing the editor-in-charge, a large piece. I didn't like the way that my content was being edited and my photos wanted to be in a certain way. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to publish my own magazine for a little while. So for 2 years, I published a magazine called Caged Muscle. I lived in an apartment in Marina Del Rey. I bought this industrial-sized printer to go in my apartment. And I remember, just working tirelessly on this thing. And about 4 o'clock in the morning, the warm pages got delivered into my hand like it was my baby, And so I published that magazine, and I was doing a lot of freelance work for other magazines and websites just to make this magazine pay for itself, because it wasn't making money. I'm no good at advertising and selling advertising, and that's how you make money, so it's useless. And so Ryan DeLuca at that time wanted an editor-in-chief for bodybuilding.com because he's growing. and he did a lot of content. So I flew up to Boise, Idaho, and interviewed for that position, and I got that position. So then I up and left and moved to bodybuilding.com to Boise. So there was only like 30 of us in the office. The warehouse and the office was all one. And then just some years later, there's like 500 people in the office. It just grew. Unbelievable. Like you said, a lot of people launched their careers. Like Mark Lorbliner, that was here a second ago. I don't know where he is now. Like, he was relentless at providing content on the forums with the brand that he had then. And Steve Cook was obviously living in Boise. I remember, I think he was like in university or plumber or something like that at that time. Then he started getting traction on there, and it was just like you said, it was the go-to place for content, information, and everybody wanted a break on that platform so they could launch themselves. And obviously it's a very, very different story today, but it was a great story back then.
All right, that's all I got. I appreciate your time. You're an interesting dude. I can't believe all the things you're involved with from when I met you, and how much stuff you've done since then, and how much you changed. You look very different. I don't think you had any tattoos or piercings back then. That's right.
I was dying to get it.
Yeah. Interesting. You look good though. You look great. All right, get up there. Show everyone. Show everyone what you got. Nate'll do it if you do.
I won't do it if you do.
All right, deal. All right, well, thank you very much, Kris Gethin. Pleasure talking with you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Josie. I really appreciate that, and you don't scare me as much now because you're not spitting into a little 600ml bottle. I thought that was his secret. I was like, wow, I'm going to take this secret and apply it to myself, but I didn't.
All right, I'll do it later. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.